That morning, Silas woke with the kind of excitement only a 7-year-old can summon. His smile stretched wide as he held up the glittery birthday card he'd made for his mom, stickers askew at the corners, his name scribbled in that wobbly handwriting that squeezed my heart every time I saw it. "She's going to love this," he said, beaming with pride. To him, it was a masterpiece, and in his eyes, it was priceless. 1 hour, I promised. Just a quick drop-off. The lake house stood like a ghost from my past. 3 years ago, Maya and I had painted dreams into those walls, wine in hand, swatches in the other, imagining our future aging gracefully by that stone fireplace. Now it looked like a catalog spread, soft blues, golds, curated warmth. Maya's touch was everywhere, except now it wasn't ours. It was hers and Roman's. I parked 2 blocks away. I couldn't bring myself to pull into the driveway. Silas clutched the card as we walked the gravel path. I tried not to look around, but memories clung to every cedar shingle. The front door opened before we got there. Eloise stood in the doorway, chin high like she was still hosting royalty. "Well," she drawled, her eyes skating over me like I was dirt on her marble floors. "Didn't expect the help to deliver in person." Silas flinched. I squeezed his shoulder. "We won't stay long," I said. Roman appeared beside her, champagne flute in hand, tailored shirt molded to a body sculpted more by ego than effort. He looked me over like I'd wandered into the wrong club. "Lost, are we?" He smirked. The laughter that followed wasn't loud, but it echoed, from the guests, from the hallway, and from Maya, who stood by the cake pretending not to hear. Silas's hand gripped mine tighter. "You want to give her the card?" I asked, kneeling beside him. He hesitated, then nodded. We made our way across the room. Maya's eyes widened before she plastered on that practiced smile, the kind that stopped just shy of her eyes. "Hi, baby," she said, kneeling. "You came." Silas held out the card. He didn't let go immediately. "I made it all. By myself," he said. "I can tell," she replied softly. "It's beautiful." I stepped back, gave them space but not enough to vanish. Then I caught it. Eloise again, whispering to Roman behind her flute. His chuckle was quieter this time, but just as sharp. I turned toward the door. Enough. But Silas didn't move. He was staring down the hallway. "Dad," he whispered, "we need to leave. Something's wrong." I crouched. "What did you—" "See?" He shook his head. "Not see, here. They said your name. I don't like it here." Everything still looked the same. Cake, music, polite laughter. But the air had shifted. He was right. My instincts agreed. I stood slowly. My scan wasn't casual anymore. Roman watched us, not amused, calculating. "Let's go," I said. Silas didn't ask why. He walked fast, like his legs understood before his brain did. "You're not even staying for photos?" Maya called. "No," I said loud enough for the room to hear. "This is the last place he should feel afraid." Her smile twitched. But she didn't stop us. Back at the car, Silas climbed in wordlessly. I stood scanning the street. Nothing visible. But I felt it. A shift. And it wasn't over. Halfway down the road, the unease worsened. Rearview mirror, black SUV. 2 cars back, too clean, too consistent. I turned onto Elkview. It followed. Anyone else might think coincidence. I knew better. 10 years in private security teaches you to spot a tail in your sleep. This one was trained. I didn't tell Silas. Not yet. "Hey, buddy," I said, light as I could. "Want to play a game?" He looked up. "A spy game. You're the mission. You've got to stay low. Hide. Think you can do that?" He nodded slowly. "You're the most important one," I said, turning left without signaling, weaving into quieter roads. Agent Silas, I said. This is Operation Stay Invisible. He ducked behind my seat. I doubled back through school zones, construction detours I remembered. No erratic moves. Just enough. When I saw the SUV 3 cars back again on the 3rd loop, I knew. Not random. I pulled into an underground garage beneath Jackson Ford's office. Not just a lawyer, ex-special ops. We served together. I killed the engine, told Silas to stay put. Use the bypass code Jackson gave me 6 years ago when we swore we'd never need it. Inside, under flickering fluorescent lights, we hid. You did great, I told Silas. He looked up, voice small. They were in the study. My breath caught. Who? Roman, and a man with a scar. Big, mean. They talked about handling things. The man said, loose ends. Roman said, he hesitated. What, buddy? He doesn't even realize we've been watching, he said. And then, they said your name. I looked away. This wasn't about Maya's party. It wasn't about the divorce. It was bigger, older, and I was the variable they hadn't accounted for. I called Jackson. Coded message. The package is in the wind. Then I shut everything down. Phones, trackers, GPS, all into the Faraday case I kept in the trunk. Where are we going now? Silas asked. Aunt June's, I said. She makes the best pancakes. You'll be safe. What about you? I smiled, thin. I've got some questions to ask. He didn't speak again, just hummed his off-key Lego song. But my mind was racing. Danny Linwood, Maya's old college friend. Months ago, she warned me, you need to look closer. She said she was working on something. I never saw her again, until the burner phone buzzed. No name, just, autopsy says, defensive wounds. Be careful, you're next. Danny, dead. Suicide, they claimed. Classic staging, slit wrists, locked apartment. But she was strong. Gymnast strong, trained. I pulled every file. Her last call, Roman Blake, only. Roman Blake didn't exist. He was Bryce Levon, ex-intelligence. European flags on financial ops. Nothing ever stuck. Then I traced it further. Maya's father's firm. Bankrupt on paper. But the assets moved through offshore trusts. One tied to Roman, Bryce, blackmail, wire fraud, media manipulation. And me? I was the ex-husband, the one no one expected to keep looking. But I kept looking. In her drafts, one last unsent message from Danny. Silas is in danger. I think she knows. Call me, please. They'd been watching us, waiting, but they didn't expect this. I made the call to my old handler. Cross-check Bryce Levon, I said. Havana Ops, Montenegro, tag anything tied to Maya or Eloise. A pause. You just made yourself a target, he said. I've been one, I replied. Now I'm returning fire. He hadn't drunk it. Just a prop. Like the smile. He wore and the way he leaned back in the booth at 318, perfectly at ease. I think it's time you stopped poking holes in things you don't understand. I didn't move. Hands flat on the table, palms down, open, non-threatening. But my eyes stayed on his. The way they never really blinked. Military, controlled. He wasn't here to talk. He was here to deliver a warning. A soft ultimatum before they decided I wasn't worth negotiating with. You mean Danny's murder? I asked, tone flat. Or the fact your boy Bryce is sitting on a mountain of digital landmines thinking nobody's watching? He didn't flinch, didn't even twitch. That told me more than words ever could. Let me explain something, he said, leaning in just slightly. We let you live because Bryce figured you'd fade. Most men in your position do. Divorce, custody loss, weekend visits with your kid. You play house with your guilt and keep your mouth shut. I raised an eyebrow. And when that little fantasy doesn't work out, He smiled. This one was colder. We remind you what you've got to lose. That's when I knew they'd made a mistake. They thought I was still the man who smiled politely during custody exchanges, who looked away when Maya flashed her new ring, who bit his tongue when Roman Bryce made his little comments. They hadn't met me yet. Not the real me. You show up again, I said, voice low. You won't leave on your feet. His head tilted, amused. Is that a threat? No, I said. It's a promise. Already written down. He chuckled, then stood. You're lucky the boss still believes in sentimentality. That kid of yours, cute, real sweet. Be a shame if he got caught in something. My pulse didn't jump. I'd trained for that. No reactions, not even to that one. He vanished out the side door, a ghost into the alley. I stayed 10 more minutes, not because I was shaken, but because I needed them to believe I was. Let the threat settle. Let them feel confident. When I finally stood, I left the tab unpaid. Walked past the hostess without a glance and climbed into the black sedan I'd parked 3 blocks away. I drove in silence. No music, no calls. Just the low hum of tires on asphalt and the weight of my next move building in my head. They threatened my son. They crossed a line they didn't know existed. Back at the safe house, I pulled up the floorboard. The case inside was waiting. Hard. Drives. Flash drives. Encrypted SATCOM gear. A small black box with a red sticker. That sticker finally mattered. I slid a flash drive into the laptop and started assembling the package. Screenshots. Encrypted messages between Bryce and Maya, pulled weeks ago when I got suspicious. Wire transfers routed through shell firms in Switzerland, Belize, and Luxembourg. Contracts, emails, a scan of a ledger Danny must have sent before she died. Scribbled notes that made my stomach turn. It wasn't just numbers. It was a system, a machine, built to erase people. At 2:03 a.m., a courier entered Roman's penthouse. I watched from the lobby feed I tapped days earlier. The courier didn't know what he carried. Just a small box, neatly wrapped. Signed, "From a friend." Inside, the flash drive, and a folded note, blood red. You threatened the wrong father. Bryce opened it. His reaction was perfect. A tilt of the head, a glance at the hallway cam, then stillness. The scarred man entered soon after. The camera didn't catch it all. Didn't need to. I'd already lit the match. They knew I wasn't bluffing. Back at the safe house, I leaned back. I hadn't slept in days, running on caffeine and fury, but I felt something like clarity. This wasn't about betrayal anymore, or the nameplate Bryce stole at the family table. This was about power, about Silas. They thought he was leverage. He wasn't. He was my legacy, and they'd just given me permission to go to war. I told her to come alone, no Roman, no entourage. Ivy Bridge Park, noon, middle of the week, quiet playground, empty trails. She agreed with a single word. Okay, no punctuation, no warmth, just control wrapped in civility. I arrived 3 hours early, scouted every inch. The roof of the old train depot gave me a hawk's eye view of the green. To most, Ivy Bridge was serene. To me, it was a net of weak cover and easy choke points. I marked 3 watchers before. She showed. Water fountain, 2 dark sunglasses. Jogger, same loop every 7 minutes. Bench reader, no phone, no page turns. Bad actors, but trained. Maya arrived 20 minutes late. Red coat, designer bag, face painted to look effortless. She scanned the area. Once. Twice. She didn't see me until I wanted her to.